I'm 58 years old, and my daughter just handed me a bill for $4,200. Not an apology, not an explanation, just receipts, bottle service, catered seafood, matching tie-dye outfits for her influencer friends, all charged to my credit card, while she threw a party at my beach house without asking me. Mom, my friends and I broke some things and bought drinks on your card, Jenna said, dropping the crumpled envelope on my kitchen table like it was a parking ticket. Here's the bill. I spent 32 years teaching 7th graders how to write proper sentences and analyze literature. I raised Jenna alone after her father chose bourbon over us. I saved every penny, lived modestly, denied myself vacations and new clothes and dinners out. Also, I could buy one thing that was truly mine. A small blue cottage in Nags Head, North Carolina. My refuge, my reward for decades of sacrifice. And she destroyed it. When I drove to the Outer Banks the next morning, I found my hand-refinished coffee table split in half, wine stains blooming across the cream sofa like bruises, the sliding glass door shattered because someone couldn't be bothered to unlock it properly. My mother's blue ceramic dishes, the ones she brought from Virginia in 1983, the ones that survived 40 years, chipped, stained, one missing entirely. I stood in that wreckage, surrounded by empty champagne bottles and burnt curtains and the lingering smell of entitlement. And something inside me went quiet. Not angry, quiet. Like a door closing softly. I made 3 phone calls that afternoon. The first was to a real estate agent. By the next morning, my beach house was listed for sale. $385,000, $40,000 below market value because of the damage. It sold in 4 days. The second call was to American Express. I canceled Jenna's card. The one I gave her for emergencies. Not parties, not bottle service, not her manufactured Instagram lifestyle. The third call was to my insurance company. I removed her as a dependent from my health plan. Then I changed every password to every account we shared. Netflix, Spotify, Amazon Prime, the bank account where she'd had access since college. By the time Jenna woke up the next day, her credit card was declined. Her insurance was gone. She couldn't log into anything. And the house, the beach house she'd treated like a disposable backdrop for content, had a for sale sign in the yard. She called me 37 times in 6 hours. The messages started confused. Why isn't my card working? Then angry. What kind of mother does this? Then desperate. Mom, please. I'm sorry. I didn't think it was a big deal. But I didn't answer. Because here's what I finally understood. Standing in that destroyed cottage with my mother's broken dishes in the sink. Love is not the same as indulgence. Forgiveness is not the same as enabling. And sometimes the most merciful thing you can do for someone you love is let them fall so they can finally learn to stand. I spent 3 decades teaching children how to find their voices, how to take responsibility, how to become people of character and strength. I forgot to teach my own daughter. Or maybe I taught her too well that she didn't have to try, that Mom would always be there to catch her, to pay for her mistakes, to smooth every rough edge in her life until she believed the world existed to serve her. When Jenna finally showed up at the beach house 3 days later, she looked destroyed. Unwashed hair, no makeup, eyes swollen from crying. She stood on the porch and asked me, "You're really selling it? Because of me?" "Yes." "I said I'd pay you back." "Did you?" I asked quietly. "Did you actually say you were sorry? Or did you just say you'd pay me back?" As if the money was the only problem. She didn't have an answer. "I want you to figure out who you are without me," I told her. "I want you to pay your own bills, make your own decisions, face your own consequences. And when you're ready to meet me, not as a child seeking provision, but as an adult offering relationship, I'll be here." She drove away crying. And I didn't know if I'd just made the biggest mistake of my life or the bravest decision I'd ever made. That was 6 months ago. Jenna hasn't called. She sends messages through her roommate, brief updates that she's working full-time now, that she's figuring it out, that she's surviving, but she won't talk to me directly. And I'm learning to live with that silence, learning that love doesn't always look like closeness, that sometimes it looks like distance and hard lessons and the terrible faith that the person you raised will find their way back, not to who they were, but to who they're supposed to become. I sold the beach house. I cut the financial ties. I set boundaries I should have set 20 years ago. And now I'm sitting in a small cabin I'm renting in the mountains, watching the sun set over the Blue Ridge, wondering if my daughter will ever forgive me for loving her enough to let her go, or if I'll ever forgive myself for waiting so long to do it. This is the story of what happens when you finally choose yourself, after a lifetime of choosing everyone else. When you realize that sacrifice without boundaries isn't love, it's erasure. And when you discover that the hardest thing about being a mother isn't protecting your child from falling, it's standing back and watching them hit the ground, because only then can they learn to rise. I'm standing in my kitchen on a Tuesday morning in late September, and my daughter has just handed me a bill for $4,200. The envelope is wrinkled, like she's been carrying it in her purse for days, working up the nerve. Or maybe she just doesn't care about presentation anymore. Jenna's 26 now, old enough to know better. But standing here in my kitchen with her highlighted hair pulled into a deliberately messy bun and her athleisure outfit that probably cost more than my monthly electric bill, she looks exactly like she did at 16, entitled, beautiful, and utterly convinced the world will bend around her. "Mom, my friends and I broke some things and bought drinks on your card," she says, her voice flat, almost bored. "Here's the bill." I don't open the envelope right away. I'm holding a dish towel, the yellow one with tiny sunflowers that I bought at the farmer's market last spring. My hands are damp from washing breakfast dishes. Just mine, singular. A plate with toast crumbs and a coffee mug with a faded quote from Maya Angelou. Still I rise. I've been rising for 58 years. Lately, I've been wondering what for. "Jenna," I say, and my voice comes out calmer than I expected. "What are you talking about?" She sighs like I'm the one being difficult. "The beach house. We had a little get-together. It got out of hand. But I'm being responsible, okay? I'm telling you up front. A little get-together." I set the dish towel down carefully on the counter, smoothing out the wrinkles even though it doesn't matter. My kitchen is small but tidy. White subway tiles I installed myself after the divorce. Open shelving with mismatched mugs and a collection of vintage canisters I found at estate sales. There's a mason jar of late-blooming hydrangeas on the windowsill, purple and cream, their petals just starting to brown at the edges. The morning light comes through the window at an angle that makes everything look softer than it is. "When did you go to the beach house?" I ask. "This past weekend, Friday through Sunday." She's scrolling through her phone now, not even looking at me. Her nails are long and square, painted a pale pink that probably has some trendy name like ballet slipper or whisper blush. "You didn't ask me. You texted me back. You said it was fine." She looks up, defensive now, her blue eyes, Frank's eyes, narrowing slightly. I think back. Friday afternoon, I was at the nonprofit literacy center where I volunteer twice a week, helping adults study for their GED exams. My phone buzzed. Jenna's text. "Can I borrow the beach house keys? Just need to get away for a day or two." And I'd responded standing in that fluorescent-lit classroom that smelled like old carpet and burnt coffee. "Sure, honey. Keys are in the ceramic bowl by the front door." I hadn't asked why. I hadn't asked who was going with her. I'd just said yes, the way I always do, the way I've done since she was small, and learning that her tears could move mountains, or at least move me. "I said you could use it," I tell her now, my voice still steady. "I didn't say you could destroy it." She rolls her eyes, actually rolls them, like I'm a tiresome teacher, and she's the clever student who knows better. Nobody destroyed anything. We broke a table, and some dishes. The door got stuck and we had to force it. It's not a big deal, Mom. Things break. That's why I'm giving you the receipts. I finally open the envelope. Inside are printed receipts, the kind that curl at the edges, along with a handwritten note on lined paper torn from a spiral notebook. Mom, charged to your Amex. Will pay back when I can. J, the first receipt is from Sunset Social, a trendy club in Kill Devil Hills. Bottle service, won $850. The second is from a catering company. Low Country Boil for 12, $680. There's a receipt from a boutique called Driftwood & Co. 6 matching tie-dye lounge sets, $420. 4 cases of Veuve Clicquot from the ABC store, $890. Miscellaneous charges at a convenience store. Red Solo cups, limes, bags of ice, another $215. And finally, a bill from someone named Crystal's Cleaning Services. Emergency deep clean, $145. I do the math in my head. It comes to $4,200 exactly, like she's rounded up or combined things. My American Express card. The one I gave her when she moved to Charlotte 3 years ago. For emergencies, gas, groceries, a trip to urgent care if she got sick. Not bottle service. Not a party for 12 of her influencer friends. Jenna, I say again. And this time my voice cracks just slightly. A hairline fracture in the calm. You spent over $4,000 of my money on a party at my house without asking me. I am asking you, she says, exasperated now. I'm literally standing here telling you about it. What else do you want me to do? What do I want her to do? I want her to apologize. I want her to look me in the eye and acknowledge that what she did was wrong. I want her to understand that the beach house isn't just a house. It's the first thing I ever bought that was entirely mine, that no man's name was attached to, that I paid for with money I saved from 32 years of teaching 12-year-olds how to write topic sentences and analyze To Kill a Mockingbird. I want her to see me as something other than a resource, an ATM with a pulse, a woman whose only purpose is to smooth her path and fund her dreams. But I don't say any of that. Instead, I fold the receipts carefully and put them back in the envelope. I set it on the counter next to the sunflower dish towel. I look at my daughter, this stranger wearing my daughter's face, and I feel something I haven't felt in years. Clarity. Okay, I say. She blinks. Okay. Yes. Okay. She waits for more, but I don't give it to her. After a moment, she shrugs, picks up her phone again and heads toward the door. Thanks, Mom. I'll Venmo you when I can. Love you. The door closes. Her car starts. A leased Audi A3 that she can't really afford. Financed by part-time Pilates classes and Spunkon posts about vitamin gummies. I watch through the window as she backs out of my driveway, narrowly missing my neighbor's mailbox, and drives off toward whatever brunch or photo shoot or manufactured moment of joy she has planned for the day. I stand in my kitchen for a long time, holding that envelope, staring at the hydrangeas. And then I do something I haven't done in 30 years. I call in sick. Route 64 East is a straight shot from Raleigh to the Outer Banks. 2.5 hours if you don't stop. 3 if you do. I've made this drive dozens of times since I bought the cottage 5 years ago. Always looking forward to it. Always with a sense of arrival. Of coming home to the sound of waves and the smell of salt air and the particular quality of light that exists only near the ocean. Golden and endless and forgiving. Today I'm driving with my hands tight on the wheel and my jaw clenched so hard my teeth ache. It's just past noon. The sky is that washed-out blue you get in early fall, pale and wide, with clouds like brushstrokes. I'm driving my Honda CR-V, the 2014 model with 140,000 miles, and a dent in the rear bumper from when Frank backed into a fire hydrant the year before we divorced. The radio is off. I don't want music. I don't want NPR's soothing voices telling me about foreign conflicts and political scandals. I just want silence and the hum of my tires on asphalt. I think about the last time I drove this route. Early August, right before the start of the school year. Though I'm retired now, I still think in terms of school years, summers, and semesters, September as a beginning rather than an end. I'd gone out to the cottage for a long weekend, just me and a stack of books I'd been meaning to read. I'd walked the beach at sunrise, collected shells, sat on the porch with a glass of wine, and watched the sun sink into the Atlantic like it was drowning in light. I'd felt peaceful, whole, like I'd finally figured out how to be alone without being lonely. Now I'm driving toward that same place, and I feel none of those things. I stop in Williamston for gas, a little town halfway there. The kind of place that still has a Dairy Queen and a hand-painted sign outside the Baptist church that reads, "Faith is not belief without proof, but trust without reservation." I fill the tank, buy a bottle of water and a pack of nabs, those bright orange peanut butter crackers I used to eat as a kid, and stand in the parking lot for a moment, watching a young mother wrangle two small boys into a minivan. The boys are maybe 4 and 6, wild-haired and sunburned, arguing about who gets to hold the icy. The mother looks exhausted, her ponytail crooked, her t-shirt stained with something sticky. But when she finally gets them buckled in, she glances back at them and smiles. A real smile, tired but genuine. And I feel a sharp ache in my chest. I used to be that mother. Jenna was a difficult child, colicky and demanding, but she was mine. I remember the weight of her in my arms, the way she'd curl against me in the glider rocker at 3 a.m., her tiny fist gripping my finger like an anchor. I remember thinking, I will do anything for you. I will give you everything I didn't have. And I did. Maybe that was the problem. I get back in the car and keep driving. By the time I cross the Wright Memorial Bridge into the Outer Banks, the sun is lower in the sky, turning everything gold and rose. The air smells like brine and marsh grass. I pass the tourist traps, mini golf courses with pirate themes, seafood shacks with plastic lobsters nailed to the walls, souvenir shops selling hermit crabs and airbrushed t-shirts. Then the landscape opens up, dunes and sea oats and stretches of beach that seem to go on forever. Nag's Head is quieter this time of year. The summer crowds have thinned. The rental houses with names like Seize the Day and Assault Life are mostly empty, their windows dark, their porches stacked with unused Adirondack chairs. I drive slowly through the neighborhood where my cottage is, past houses 3 times the size of mine, past families packing up SUVs for the drive home, past an old man walking a golden retriever along the roadside, and then I'm there. My cottage sits at the end of a sandy lane, close enough to the beach that you can hear the waves at night, but not so close that you worry about storm surge. It's small, maybe 900 square feet, with weathered blue shutters and a front porch I painted white last spring. There's a patch of scrubby grass out front, a metal mailbox shaped like a crab, and a driftwood sign that says Reeves in painted letters. I park in the gravel driveway and sit there for a moment, just looking at it. The front door is ajar, not wide open but not closed either, just cracked, like someone left in a hurry and didn't bother to pull it shut. My stomach tightens. I get out of the car slowly, my sandals crunching on the gravel, and approach the porch. There's a smell, faint but distinct, like sour alcohol and something burnt. I push the door open. The living room looks like a crime scene. The coffee table, an old pine piece I'd refinished myself, sanding it down and staining it a soft honey color, is split clean down the middle, one half leaning drunkenly against the sofa. The sofa itself, a cream linen slipcover I'd saved for months to buy, is covered in dark red stains. Wine, probably. Or maybe sangria. There are rings everywhere, ghostly circles where glasses sat without coasters. The throw pillows are on the floor, One has a shoe print on it. I walk further in, my heart pounding now. A strange ringing in my ears. The sliding glass door that leads to the deck is shattered. Not entirely. It's still standing, but there's a jagged starburst crack radiating from the handle, and shards of glass are scattered across the threshold. Someone forced it. Someone couldn't be bothered to unlock it properly, so they just yanked and yanked until it gave. In the kitchen, my mother's blue ceramic dishes are piled in the sink, sticky with dried food and lipstick stains. 3 of them are chipped. On the serving bowl with the scalloped edge that my mother used for mashed potatoes every Thanksgiving is nowhere to be seen. Just gone. There's a burnt smell coming from the bathroom. I follow it, my hands shaking now, and find a linen curtain with a long brown scorch mark near the bottom, like someone tried to curl their hair and got too close. The wastebasket is overflowing. Makeup wipes, empty miniature bottles of vodka, a broken press-on nail. I walk back to the living room and stand there, surrounded by the wreckage of my careful life, and I think about the way Jenna looked when she handed me that envelope this morning. Casual, unbothered, almost amused. Here's the bill. As if this were a transaction. As if love could be invoiced. I sit down on the ruined sofa, careful to avoid the wine stains, and I stare at the cracked sliding door. Beyond it, the ocean is turning violet in the fading light. The waves roll in, indifferent, eternal. And for the first time in years, maybe in my whole life, I let myself feel the anger. Not the polite, swallowed down kind. Not the quiet resentment I've carried like a stone in my pocket. Real anger. Hot and clean and clarifying. I pull out my phone. I have 3 calls to make. The first call is to Margaret Chen. I met Margaret 2 years ago at an open house in Southern Shores. I wasn't looking to sell. I'd just bought the place. But I was curious about the market, about what my little cottage might be worth someday. Margaret was the listing agent, a sharp woman in her early 60s with silver hair cut in a precise bob, and the kind of confidence that comes from closing deals in a market where million-dollar homes sell in 48 hours. We'd stayed in touch the way you do with people you meet and genuinely like, but never quite make time for. Christmas cards, the occasional email. She answers on the second ring. Linda, how are you? It's been ages. I'm sitting on my ruined sofa, looking at the shattered door, and I realize I don't know how to answer that question honestly. So I don't. Margaret, I need to list my house, I say. The one in Nag's Head, as soon as possible. There's a pause. I hear papers rustling, the click of a mouse. Your cottage? The blue one on Pelican Lane? Yes. Okay. Her voice shifts into professional mode, warm but focused. Can I ask what's prompting this? Are you relocating? Downsizing? I look around the room, at the wine-stained sofa, the broken table, the glass glittering on the hardwood floor like scattered stars. I just need a change, I say, and it's not a lie, not entirely. Of course. Well, it's actually a great time to sell. Inventory is low. Demand is still strong even post-summer. I can come by tomorrow morning to do a walkthrough and we can talk pricing. Does 9 o'clock work? That's fine. Wonderful. And Linda? Her voice softens slightly. Are you all right? You sound... I'm fine, I say, cutting her off gently. I'll see you tomorrow. I hang up before she can ask anything else. The second call is to American Express. I navigate through the automated system. Press 1 for account services. Press 3 for card management. Until I finally reach a human being. Her name is Stephanie. She has a pleasant, generic accent that could be from anywhere. I need to cancel a card, I say. It's an authorized user card. My daughter's. Of course, I can help with that. Can I have the last 4 digits of the card? I read them off the receipt for the bottle service. Stephanie clicks away at her keyboard. Okay, I see it here. And you'd like to remove her as an authorized user? Yes, and I want to cancel that specific card immediately. Understood. Just so you know, any pending charges on that card will still process to your account. That's fine. All right. I've submitted the cancellation. The card will be deactivated within the hour. Is there anything else I can help you with today? There's something almost funny about her cheerfulness, like she has no idea she's just helped me cut a cord that's been strangling me for years. No, I say. Thank you. The third call is to Blue Cross Blue Shield. This one is harder. When I added Jenna to my insurance plan 3 years ago, it felt like the responsible thing to do. She was between jobs, uninsured, and I was terrified something would happen to her. A car accident, an illness. I couldn't sleep thinking about it. So I called the insurance company and added her as a dependent, even though she was 23 and technically an adult. It cost me an extra $140 a month, but I paid it gladly. Now I'm on hold, listening to instrumental versions of pop songs I vaguely recognize, and I'm thinking about how easily we justify things, how we tell ourselves we're helping when really we're just afraid of saying no. This is Dennis. How can I help you? Dennis sounds young, maybe mid-20s with a slight southern accent. Georgia, maybe, or Alabama. I need to remove a dependent from my plan, I say. Sure thing. Can I get your member ID? I recite it from the card in my wallet, the one that's worn soft at the edges from being pulled out so many times. Great. And the dependent's name? Jenna Reeves, my daughter. More typing. Then a pause. Okay, ma'am. I see her here. Just to confirm, you want to remove her from your plan entirely? Yes. Can I ask the reason? We have options for different coverage levels if cost is a concern. It's not about cost, I interrupt, and my voice is sharper than I intend. I just need her removed, effective immediately. Understood. I'll process that for you. She'll receive a notification in the mail within 7 to 10 business days about the change, along with information about other coverage options. Thank you. Is there anything else? I hang up. I sit there on the sofa, holding my phone, and I feel something rising in my chest. Not regret, not guilt, something lighter. Like a weight I didn't know I was carrying has suddenly lifted, and I can breathe deeper than I have in years. But I'm not done yet. I spend the next hour changing passwords. Netflix first. I log into the account on my laptop, the MacBook Air I bought 3 years ago that still works perfectly fine, despite Jenna telling me I should upgrade, and navigate to settings. I see her profile. Jenna, with a profile picture of her in oversized sunglasses making a duck face. She's been using my account since college. I changed the password to something she'll never guess. The name of my childhood dog, my mother's maiden name, and the year I bought this cottage. I don't feel guilty. I feel efficient. Spotify next, Amazon Prime, Hulu, the New York Times subscription I pay for, even though I mostly read the physical paper. Each password change is a small severance, a thread cut cleanly. Then I log into the bank account. This is the one that makes my hands shake slightly. Years ago, when Jenna was in college, I added her as a joint owner on my savings account. She was 19 studying communications at UNC Wilmington, and she needed to be able to access money for emergencies, textbooks, a car repair. I told myself it was practical, responsible. She never took money without asking, but she asked often, and I always said yes. Now I'm looking at the account details and I realize she still has full access. She could, theoretically, drain the entire thing if she wanted to. $38,000. Not a fortune, but everything I have left after the divorce, after buying this cottage, after decades of modest living and careful saving. I call the bank. I explain what I need. The representative, a woman named Keisha with a Brooklyn accent that makes me feel safer somehow, more grounded, tells me it's simple. I just need to come in and fill out a form, or I can upload a signed document through the secure portal. We'll create a new account in your name only. Keisha explains. Transfer all the funds, then close the joint account. She'll receive notification, but she won't be able to prevent it or access the new account. How long does it take? If you do it through the portal today, it'll be processed tomorrow morning. Thank you, I say, and I mean it. I upload the document. I sign it electronically. I watch the confirmation email arrive in my inbox with a sense of finality that feels both terrifying and exhilarating. Then I do one more thing. I go into my email and search for every message I've sent Jenna in the past year. There are hundreds. Short ones. Love you, honey. Drive safe. Did you eat today? Longer ones. Advice about jobs she didn't take. Apartments she didn't rent. Boyfriends who turned out to be disappointments. I scroll through them, reading my own words, and I barely recognize the woman who wrote them. Anxious, apologetic, constantly trying to smooth things over to make Jenna's life easier, to cushion her from consequences. I don't delete them, but I create a folder and move them all there, out of sight. Then I close my laptop. Outside, the sun has fully set. The cottage is dark except for the lamp on the side table, the one with the driftwood base I bought at a craft fair in Manteo. The ocean sounds louder at night, more insistent. I sit in the growing darkness and let myself feel everything I've been pushing down for so long. Anger, yes, but also grief for the daughter I thought I had, for the relationship I thought we were building, for all the years I spent confusing love with surrender. My phone buzzes. A text from Jenna. Hey, can you Venmo me $200? Rent is due and I'm short. We'll pay you back Friday. I stare at it for a long moment. My thumbs hover over the keyboard. A month ago, a week ago, I would have sent the money immediately. No questions asked. I would have worried about her, imagined her stressed and struggling, and I would have fixed it because that's what I did. That's who I was. But I'm not that person anymore. I don't respond. I just turn off my phone and set it face down on the coffee table. Tomorrow she'll wake up to a very different world. Margaret arrives at 9 o'clock sharp, driving a silver Lexus and carrying a leather portfolio. She's wearing white linen pants and a navy blazer, her silver hair perfect as always, and when she steps inside the cottage and sees the damage, her professional smile falters. "Oh," she says softly. "Linda." "I know," I say. "It's bad." She walks through slowly, taking photos with her phone, making notes on a tablet. She doesn't ask what happened. I appreciate that more than she knows. In the kitchen, she runs her hand along the countertop, butcher block I treated with mineral oil every 6 months, and then looks at me with something like compassion. "The good news is that the structure is sound," she says. "The damage is mostly cosmetic. Replacing the glass door, repairing the table, replacing the sofa. You're probably looking at about $6,000–7,000 in repairs if you want to do them before listing." "I don't want to repair anything," I say. She raises an eyebrow. "You'll get a better price if—" "I want to list it as is, today." Margaret sets down her tablet. "Linda, can I ask what's going on? You don't have to tell me, but this feels sudden. And selling as is, you're going to lose money. Maybe $20,000–30,000, depending on the buyer. I think about lying, but I'm so tired of protecting Jenna from the truth. Tired of pretending everything is fine when it's not. My daughter did this," I say quietly. "She threw a party here without asking me. Destroyed the place. Charged $4,000 to my credit card. Handed me the bill like it was a parking ticket." Margaret's expression shifts from professional to personal, her eyes softening with understanding. "I'm sorry. I'm not," I say, and I'm surprised by how true it is. I spent 30 years teaching other people's children how to be better. I think I forgot to teach my own. Or maybe I taught her too well that she didn't have to face consequences. Either way, I'm done. "So you're selling the house to cut the cord," I finish, "to show her I'm serious. And because I don't want to be here anymore. Not like this." Margaret nods slowly. She doesn't try to talk me out of it. She doesn't offer platitudes or advice. She just opens her portfolio and pulls out a contract. "All right," she says. "Let's do it." We spend the next hour going over paperwork, comparable sales in the area, pricing strategy. She suggests listing it at $385,000, about $40,000 below market value, given the damage, but still a reasonable profit from what I paid 5 years ago. "You'll get offers fast at this price," she says. "Probably within a week. A lot of buyers are looking for fixes they can customize." "Good," I say. "The faster the better." She has a photographer coming that afternoon to take listing photos. She'll have it on the MLS by tomorrow morning. I sign everything, my handwriting steady despite the fact that I'm dismantling my life one document at a time. When she's gone, I sit on the porch and call my insurance company to remove the cottage from the policy. Then I call the utility companies to schedule disconnection for the end of the month. Each call is a small death, a piece of this life I'm shedding like old skin. By the time I'm done, it's almost noon, and my phone, which I'd turned back on, has 37 missed calls and 23 text messages, all from Jenna. The first messages are confused. "Mom, why did my credit card get declined? Can you call me? Something's wrong with my insurance, Mom. I'm literally at CVS trying to pick up my prescription, and they're saying I'm not covered. What's going on?" Then they get angry. "This is insane. You can't just cut me off without warning. What kind of mother does this? I'm calling you right now, and you better answer." And finally, desperate, "Mom, please. I'm sorry. I didn't think it was a big deal. Can we talk about this? I'll pay you back, I swear. Just please don't do this. You're scaring me." I read them all, sitting on the porch with the ocean wind pulling at my hair, and I feel nothing. No guilt, no urge to fix it. Just a strange, distant sadness, like watching someone drown from the shore and knowing there's nothing you can do because they have to learn to swim on their own. The calls start again. I let them go to voicemail. After the 5th one, I finally listen. "Mom, what the hell is going on?" Jenna's voice is high and strained, verging on hysterical. "My card's not working. My insurance is gone. I can't log into any of the accounts. Are you punishing me? Over a stupid party? This is psychotic. You're being..." I delete it. The next one is different, quieter, almost broken. "Mom, please. I know I messed up. I should have asked before going to the house. I should have been more careful. But you can't just erase me like this. I'm your daughter. Don't I get a chance to make it right?" I close my eyes. This is the hardest part, because she sounds genuinely hurt, genuinely confused. And part of me, the part that raised her, that rocked her to sleep, that kissed scraped knees and braided her hair for picture day, wants to call her back and tell her it's okay. We'll figure it out. I love you no matter what. But I don't. Because love isn't about making someone comfortable. It's about helping them grow. And I've been stunting Jenna's growth for 26 years by catching her every time she fell. Not anymore. Instead, I text her back. Just one message. "Jenna, I love you, but I'm done enabling you. The house is being sold. Your card is canceled. You're not on my insurance anymore. You're an adult, and it's time you live like one. When you're ready to have a real conversation, not a negotiation, not a guilt trip, I'll be here. But not until then." I hit send before I can second-guess myself. 3 dots appear immediately. She's typing, typing, typing. Then they disappear. No response. I turn off my phone again and go inside. 3 days pass. I stay at the cottage, cleaning up as much as I can, throwing away broken things, packing up what I want to keep. Margaret's photographer came and went. The listing went live yesterday morning. Within 6 hours, I had 4 showing requests. I'm boxing up books, paperbacks I'd collected over the years, Beach reads and classics and a well-worn copy of The Awakening that I've read at least a dozen times. When I hear a car door slam outside, I know before I look. I just know. Jenna, she's standing in the driveway, next to her Audi, and she looks terrible. Her hair is unwashed, pulled into a messy bun. She's wearing leggings and an oversized sweatshirt, no makeup, her eyes red-rimmed. She looks young, vulnerable, exactly the way she looked when she was 16 and came home crying because a boy had broken her heart. Every instinct in me wants to go to her, to hold her, to make it better. I don't move. She sees me through the window and walks toward the porch, her steps hesitant. When she reaches the door, she doesn't come in. She just stands there, hugging herself, looking at me through the screen. "Mom," she says, and her voice cracks. I open the door but don't invite her in. "Jenna, you're really selling it?" Her eyes are welling up, tears spilling over. "You're really selling the beach house?" "Yes." "Because of me?" "Yes." She flinches like I've slapped her. "I said I'd pay you back. I said I was sorry." "Did you?" I ask quietly. "Did you actually say you were sorry? Or did you just say you'd pay me back? As if the money was the only problem?" She opens her mouth, then closes it. She looks down at her feet. "Jenna, you didn't just break things." I continue, my voice steady. "You broke my trust. You took something I loved, something I worked years to afford, and you treated it like it was disposable, like I was disposable. That's not..." She's crying harder now. "That's not true. I love you. You're my mom. I know I'm your mom, but somewhere along the way, you started treating me like I exist to serve you. Like my only purpose is to give you money and clean up your messes and make your life easier. And I let you. I let you because I was afraid that if I said no, you'd leave. You'd stop calling. You'd stop needing me. I do need you," she whispers. "No," I say gently. "You need my money. You need my help. But you don't need me. You don't see me as a person with my own life, my own needs. I'm just a resource." She's fully sobbing now, and it takes everything in me not to reach for her. But I can't. Not yet. "I didn't mean..." She's choking on the words. "I didn't mean to make you feel like that. I know you didn't. That's almost worse, because it means you didn't even think about it." She sinks down onto the porch step, her head in her hands, and I stand there in the doorway, my heart breaking and mending at the same time. "What do you want me to do?" she asks finally, looking up at me with those blue eyes so much like her father's. "I want you to figure out who you are, without me," I say. "I want you to pay your own bills, make your own decisions, face your own consequences. I want you to become someone who doesn't need to be rescued. And then," her voice is so small, "and then, when you're ready, we'll build something new. A relationship between equals, not mother and child. Two adults who love and respect each other." She stares at me for a long moment. Then she stands up, wiping her eyes with the back of her hand. "I can't believe you're doing this," she says, and there's anger creeping back into her voice. "You're my mother. You're supposed to support me." "I am supporting you," I say. "Just not the way you want." She turns and walks back to her car. She doesn't look back. The engine starts and she drives away, too fast, kicking up gravel and dust. I stand on the porch and watch her go, and I wonder if I've just made the biggest mistake of my life. But I don't think I have. I think, for the first time in 26 years, I've finally done something right. The house sells in 4 days. A couple from Richmond, early 40s, 2 kids, a golden retriever named Biscuit, makes an offer of $380,000 cash. They see past the broken table and the wine stains. They see potential. They see their future summers. I accept without negotiating. Margaret handles everything. The inspection, the appraisal, the paperwork. She calls me with updates, her voice professionally cheerful, but I can hear the concern underneath. Are you sure about this, Linda? You don't have to rush, but I do. I need to close this chapter cleanly, completely, before I lose my nerve. We close on October 15th, 3 weeks after Jenna dropped that envelope on my kitchen table. I sign the papers in Margaret's office in Kill Devil Hills, a sleek space with glass walls and photographs of beach houses at sunset. The couple is there with their real estate agent, smiling nervously, excited. The wife keeps looking at me like she wants to say something. Maybe apologize for profiting from my pain. But I smile at her, and it's genuine. You're going to love it, I tell her. It's a special place. And it was. It is. Just not for me anymore. When we finish signing, they hand me a check for $364,000 after closing costs and Margaret's commission. I fold it carefully and put it in my purse, next to my mother's rosary, the one she gave me when I graduated college. Tiny carved wooden beads worn smooth from decades of prayer. Margaret walks me out to my car. The October air is crisp, smelling of wood smoke and salt. Halloween decorations are going up in shop windows. Plastic skeletons, paper bats, carved pumpkins with flickering LED candles inside. What are you going to do now? Margaret asks, leaning against my Honda. I don't know, I say. And it's the most honest I've been in weeks. Maybe drive for a while, see where I end up. She nods slowly, understanding in her eyes. You have my number. If you need anything, a recommendation for a place to stay, someone to talk to, you call me. Thank you, Margaret. And Linda? She touches my arm gently. You did the right thing. I know it doesn't feel like it yet, but you did. I drive back to Raleigh in the fading afternoon light, the check in my purse feeling both heavy and weightless. I've been staying at the cottage for the past 3 weeks, sleeping on the ruined sofa, eating takeout from the seafood shack down the road, avoiding my real life. But now I have to go back. I have to figure out what comes next. My house in Raleigh is dark when I pull into the driveway. The mailbox is overflowing. Catalogs, bills, grocery store circulars. The hydrangeas I planted last spring are brown and drooping, ready for winter. Inside, everything is exactly as I left it. The breakfast dishes still in the drying rack, the coffee mug with Maya Angelou's face still on the counter. Still I rise. I set my purse down and look around at this small house that's been mine for 7 years, since the divorce. 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, a kitchen with the subway tiles I installed myself. It's modest, quiet, safe. And suddenly, I realize I don't want safe anymore. Jenna doesn't call. Not for 3 days. Not for a week. Not for 2 weeks. I check my phone compulsively at first, expecting her to text, to call, to show up at my door. But there's nothing. Radio silence, and I'm not sure if I'm relieved or heartbroken. I try to go back to my routine. I volunteer at the Literacy Center on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I meet my friend Patricia for coffee at the local bookshop. She's a retired nurse, sharp-witted and kind. And she doesn't ask me about Jenna, even though I can tell she wants to. I go to Sunday Mass at St. Raphael's, sitting in the back pew like I always do, listening to Father Miguel talk about forgiveness and grace and the difference between mercy and enabling. His homily is about the prodigal son, and I sit there with my hands folded in my lap, thinking about how that story has always bothered me. Everyone focuses on the son who left, who wasted everything, who came crawling back. But what about the father? What about those years he waited, not knowing if his son was alive or dead, not knowing if he'd ever see him again? What about the cost of love when it requires letting go? After Mass, I light a candle for Jenna. Not for reconciliation exactly, just for her safety, her well-being, her growth. And for myself, I light one too, for courage. 3 weeks after the house sells, I get a message from an unknown number. This is Taylor, Jenna's roommate. She asked me to tell you she's okay. She got a full-time job at the Pilates studio and picked up some freelance social media work. She's making it work. She wanted you to know. I stare at the message for a long time. She's okay. She's working. She's surviving. She didn't call me herself, but she wanted me to know. It's something. I text back. Thank you for letting me know. Please tell her I'm proud of her. 3 dots appear, then disappear. Then, I will. That night, I sleep better than I have in months. On a Thursday in early November, I wake up and decide I'm leaving. Not forever. Maybe not even for long. But I need to go somewhere. See something. Be someone other than the woman who stayed in one place her whole life, teaching other people's children, loving her own daughter from a distance that kept growing wider without either of us noticing. I pack a suitcase. Clothes for cold weather, sweaters, jeans, a warm jacket, my laptop, a stack of books I've been meaning to read, the photograph of my mother that usually sits on my nightstand, taken in 1982 when she was about the age I am now, standing in front of the house in Virginia where I grew up, wearing a yellow dress and squinting into the sun. I don't make a plan. I just get in my car and drive west. I take Route 40 out of Raleigh, heading toward the mountains. The landscape changes gradually. Flat coastal plain giving way to rolling hills, then steeper climbs, forests of oak and maple turning gold and crimson in the autumn light. I stop for gas in Greensboro, for lunch at a diner in Winston-Salem, where the waitress calls me honey, and the biscuits are so good I almost cry. By evening, I'm in Asheville, the Blue Ridge Mountains rising dark and ancient around the city. I find a small bed and breakfast on the north side of town, a Victorian painted lavender with a front porch, full of rocking chairs and pumpkins. The owner is a woman named Dolores, 60-something with silver braids and laugh lines. Just you? She asks when I check in. Just me, I say, and it sounds less lonely than I expected. My room is on the 2nd floor, with a window that overlooks the mountains. There's a quilt on the bed, hand-stitched in a wedding ring pattern, and a small desk with fresh flowers, black-eyed Susans in a mason jar. I unpack slowly, hanging my sweaters in the closet, setting my mother's photograph on the nightstand. Then I sit by the window and watch the sun set over the mountains, turning the sky shades of orange and pink and deep purple, and I let myself feel everything I've been holding at bay for weeks. The grief, the loss, the fear, but also the freedom. I stay in Asheville for a week. I walk the streets downtown, browsing bookstores and art galleries and coffee shops with names like High Five and Odds Cafe. I hike part of the Blue Ridge Parkway, my legs burning, my lungs working hard in the thin mountain air. I visit the Biltmore Estate, that ridiculous Gilded Age mansion, and stand in the gardens thinking about wealth and legacy and what we leave behind. One afternoon, I find a small Catholic church tucked into a side street. Our Lady of the Mountains. It's tiny, maybe seats 100 people with stained glass windows that throw colored light across the wooden pews. I go inside, sit in the silence, and pray. Not for Jenna to call me, not for things to go back to how they were. I pray for wisdom, for strength, for the ability to love without smothering, to give without depleting myself. And I pray for Jenna, that she'll find her way, that she'll discover who she is without me propping her up, that someday we'll be able to look at each other as equals, 2 women who love each other but don't need each other to survive. When I leave the church, the sky is beginning to darken, and I feel lighter. Not fixed. I don't think I'll ever be fully fixed, but lighter. On my last night in Asheville, I sit at the desk in my room and write Jenna a letter. Not an email, not a text. A real letter, on stationery I bought at a paper shop downtown, cream-colored with a simple border of vines. I write it by hand, my cursive looping, and careful. Dear Jenna, I'm writing this from a bed and breakfast in Asheville. I've been here for a week, just thinking and walking and trying to figure out who I am when I'm not being your mother. Or at least, who I am when I'm not being the version of your mother I've been for the past 26 years. I need you to understand something. I don't regret having you. I don't regret any sacrifice I made to raise you, but I do regret not teaching you that love has boundaries, that being family doesn't mean having unlimited access to each other's resources, emotional or financial. I regret making you think that my purpose was to make your life easy, rather than to help you become strong enough to handle it when it's hard. Selling the beach house wasn't about punishing you. It was about saving myself, and maybe, in a strange way, it was about saving you too, from becoming someone who expects the world to bend around her, who never learns that actions have consequences, who mistakes comfort for happiness. I don't know what happens next for us. Maybe you need more time. Maybe I do too. But I want you to know, I love you. I always will. And when you're ready to meet me not as a child seeking provision, but as an adult offering relationship, I'll be here. You are capable of so much more than you've allowed yourself to be. I see that, even if you don't yet. And I'm choosing to believe in your ability to rise, even if it means I have to step back and let you fall first. I'm proud of you for getting the full-time job, for figuring it out. Keep going. Love always, Mom. I read it over 3 times, making small edits, then fold it carefully and tuck it into an envelope. I address it to her apartment in Charlotte, add a stamp, and walk to the mailbox on the corner. I stand there for a moment, holding the letter, and then I let it go. It drops into the darkness of the mailbox with a soft thud, and I walk back to the bed and breakfast with my hands in my pockets, breathing in the cold November air. I drive back to Raleigh on a Sunday morning, taking the scenic route through the mountains, stopping whenever I feel like it. I have lunch at a barbecue place in Hickory, where the pulled pork is smoky and tender, and the hush puppies are perfect. I visit a small historical museum in Statesville, learning about the region's textile history, the mills that once employed thousands. By the time I pull into my driveway, the sun is setting, casting long shadows across my small house. The lawn needs mowing. The mailbox is full again. But the hydrangeas have been cut back. Patricia must have come by, and there's a package on the porch. I pick it up, recognizing the handwriting on the label, even though I haven't seen it in years. Frank, my ex-husband. I take the package inside, make myself a cup of tea, and open it carefully. Inside is a small wooden box, the kind you might find at a craft fair, and a note. Linda, Jenna called me, told me what happened. I'm not writing to tell you what to do. Lord knows I lost that right years ago. But I wanted you to have this. It's your mother's china, the pieces that were still at my place after we split. I kept meaning to give them back, but never got around to it. Typical me. I'm sorry I wasn't the man you needed, but I'm glad you're finally being the woman you deserve to be. Frank. I open the box. Inside, wrapped carefully in tissue paper, are 3 of my mother's blue ceramic plates. Not the ones Jenna broke. These are different ones, from the same set, that must have ended up at Frank's house years ago. They're perfect, unchipped, whole. I take one out and hold it up to the light, running my fingers over the glaze, and I start to cry. Not sad tears, not angry tears. Relief. Thanksgiving comes cold and gray, with a light rain that taps against the windows. I wake up early, make coffee, and sit at my kitchen table with the newspaper spread out in front of me. The real paper. Black ink on my fingers. Crossword puzzle half finished. Last year, Jenna came home for Thanksgiving. I cooked a full turkey, made my mother's cornbread dressing, set the table with the good dishes. She stayed for 3 hours, spent most of it on her phone, and left before dessert because she had plans with friends. I told myself it was fine, that she was young, busy, building her own life, but it wasn't fine. And I knew it wasn't, even then. This year I'm alone, and I'm okay with it. I make a small meal, roasted chicken instead of turkey, mashed potatoes, green beans with almonds. I set the table with my mother's blue plates, the ones Frank sent, the ones that survived. I light a candle. I say grace, my voice quiet in the empty room. Bless us, O Lord, and these thy gifts, which we are about to receive from thy bounty. Through Christ our Lord. Amen. Then I add my own prayer, unscripted, and thank you for the courage to let go, for the strength to start over, for the grace to believe that sometimes love looks like distance and healing looks like loss. Amen. I eat slowly, savoring each bite. I don't turn on the TV. I don't scroll through my phone. I just sit with myself, and it's enough. After dinner, I wash the dishes by hand, drying each plate carefully before putting it away. Then I sit on the couch with a book I've been reading, The Year of Magical Thinking by Joan Didion, and lose myself in someone else's story of grief and survival. Around 8 o'clock, my phone buzzes, a text from an unknown number. My heart skips. I pick it up. Mom, it's me. I got your letter. Can we talk? Not tonight, but soon. Jay. I stare at the message for a long time, feeling something unfold in my chest. Not hope, exactly. Something more cautious, more real. I text back, yes, whenever you're ready. 3 dots appear. Then, thank you. I set the phone down and look around my small, quiet house. The lamp glowing warm in the corner. The stack of books on the coffee table. My mother's photograph on the mantel. Her smile forever caught in that Virginia sunlight. And I realize I'm not waiting anymore. I'm not holding my breath, hoping for Jenna to change or call or apologize. I'm just living. This is what it means to let go. Not to stop loving, but to stop letting love consume you. Winter settles over Raleigh, cold and crisp. I buy a small Christmas tree and decorate it with ornaments I've collected over the years. A few from my childhood. Some I bought when Jenna was little. Others I picked up traveling. Each one has a story. I string lights around the window. I bake cookies, snickerdoodles and gingerbread, and deliver them to neighbors I barely know, striking up conversations, learning names. I start attending a book club at the library. 7 women, mostly my age, who meet every other Thursday to discuss novels and drink wine from paper cups. I like them. I like feeling part of something that has nothing to do with being a mother or a teacher. Just being Linda. On December 10th, Jenna calls me. Not a text, a real call. I'm in the kitchen making soup, chicken and wild rice, my mother's recipe, and my phone lights up with her name. I stare at it for 3 rings before I answer. Hello? Mom. Her voice is tentative, uncertain in a way I've never heard before. Is now a good time? Yes, I say, turning down the burner, moving to the living room. Now is good. There's a long pause. I can hear her breathing. I read your letter about 50 times, she says finally. And I've been trying to figure out what to say, how to say it right. You don't have to say it right, I tell her gently. You just have to say it honestly. Another pause, then, I'm sorry. 2 words, simple, but I can hear the weight behind them. I'm sorry for taking advantage of you, she continues, her voice cracking slightly. For treating you like an ATM, for not seeing how hard you worked for everything you gave me, for being a shitty daughter. You weren't a shitty daughter, I say, and I mean it. You were a daughter who never learned limits because I never taught them to you. We both made mistakes, Jenna. But you're the one who had to fix it, she says. You're the one who had to blow everything up just to get my attention. And I hate that I made you do that. I close my eyes, feeling tears build. It wasn't just about getting your attention. It was about saving myself, about remembering that I'm a person, not just your mother. I know. I get that now. I didn't then, but I do now. What changed? I ask. She laughs, but it's not a happy sound. Everything. When you cut me off, I panicked. I called everyone. Dad, my friends, my roommates. I expected everyone to tell me you were crazy, that you were overreacting. But you know what Dad said? What? He said, your mother is the strongest person I know, and if she did this, you must have pushed her to the breaking point. Now you need to decide what kind of person you're going to be. I make a mental note to thank Frank. So I got the full-time job, Jenna continues. And it sucked at first. I was exhausted. I hated waking up early. I hated having a boss, having to answer to someone. But then, I don't know, something shifted. I started feeling proud of myself. Like I did this. I paid my own rent. I bought my own groceries. Nobody handed it to me. That's huge, Jenna, I say quietly. I even started seeing a therapist, she adds. Just once a week, but it's helping. She said I had this thing called learned helplessness, where I'd gotten so used to you fixing everything that I stopped believing I could fix things myself. And she said you cutting me off was actually an act of love, even though it didn't feel like it. My throat tightens. Your therapist sounds smart. She is. She's also really expensive, which is annoying, but I'm paying for it myself, so... She pauses. Mom, I don't expect you to forgive me right away, or to go back to how things were. I know I broke something big, but I want to try to build something new, like you said in your letter. Something where we're equals. I'd like that too, I say, and I'm crying now, tears slipping down my cheeks. But it's going to take time, and it's going to require you meeting me halfway, not just with words, but with actions. I know. I want to. I'm trying. We talk for another hour. She tells me about her job, about the social media clients she's picked up, about her roommate Taylor, who's been helping her meal prep and budget. She tells me she sold the Audi, couldn't afford the lease anymore, and bought a used Honda Civic for cash. It's not Instagram worthy, she admits, but it's mine, and that feels good. I tell her about Asheville, about the book club, about the cookies I've been baking. We talk about small things, easy things, and it feels like the beginning of something fragile but real. Before we hang up, she says, Mom, can I ask you something? Of course. Do you regret selling the beach house? I think about it. Really think about it. No, I say finally. I love that house, but I love myself more. And I needed to prove that. To you and to me. I get it, she says softly. And for what it's worth, I'm glad you did. Even though it sucked. Even though I hated you for a while. I'm glad. After we hang up, I sit on the couch for a long time, holding the phone, feeling something I haven't felt in years. Hope. Real hope. The kind that doesn't require perfection or guarantees. Just possibility. The crocuses come up in March, pushing through the cold soil in my front yard. Brave little purple and white blooms that always arrive too early, but survive anyway. I'm in the garden pulling weeds when Jenna's car, the used Honda Civic, silver and practical, pulls into my driveway. She gets out slowly, like she's nervous. She's wearing jeans and a simple sweater, her hair pulled back, minimal makeup. She looks different. Older maybe, or just more real. Hi, she says. Hi, I brought something. She reaches into her car and pulls out a small potted plant. It's a hydrangea, for your garden. I know yours are kind of sad looking. I take it from her, feeling the weight of the ceramic pot, the small green leaves already budding. Thank you, I say. This is perfect. She shifts her weight, hands in her pockets. Can I help you plant it? I'd like that. We work together in the cool spring air, digging a hole, loosening the roots, settling the plant into the soil. Jenna gets dirt under her fingernails. She doesn't complain. She just works, quietly, focused. When we're done, we sit on the porch steps, drinking lemonade I made that morning. I've been paying you back, she says suddenly. $100 a month. Into your account. Did you notice? I did notice. You didn't have to do that. Yes, I did. It's going to take me forever to pay back the full amount, but I'm going to do it. Every month. Even if it means I can't go out or buy new clothes or whatever. Because you were right. I owed you more than money. But money is where I can start. I reach over and squeeze her hand. Her fingers are cold from the garden soil, but she squeezes back. I'm proud of you, I tell her. She looks at me, really looks at me, and her eyes are wet. I want to be someone you can be proud of, not just someone you rescue. You already are, I say. You're getting there. We sit there for a while, not talking, just being. The spring sun is warm on our faces. The newly planted hydrangea sits in the garden, tiny but alive, its roots reaching down into the earth. And I think about houses, the ones we build, the ones we sell, the ones we carry inside us. The beach cottage is gone, sold to a family who will make their own memories there. But I don't mourn it anymore, because I've learned something in these months of silence and distance and painful growth. You can't build a life on sand. You have to build it on something stronger, on boundaries, on self-respect, on love that asks as much as it gives. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is let everything fall apart so that it can be rebuilt right. Jenna and I aren't fixed. We may never be fully fixed. But we're trying. We're showing up. We're learning to love each other not as mother and child, but as two imperfect people who are doing their best. And for now, that's enough. I'm sitting on the porch of a small cabin I'm renting in the Shenandoah Valley, watching the sun set over the mountains. It's June, and the air is thick with the smell of honeysuckle and freshly cut grass. My phone rings. Jenna. Hey, Mom. Quick question. I'm catering a friend's bridal shower, and I can't remember. Do you put the baking soda in the biscuits or the cornbread? Biscuits, I say, smiling. But not too much, or they'll taste metallic. Right. Okay, thanks. A pause. How's the cabin? Beautiful. You should come visit sometime. I'd like that. Maybe in August? I have some vacation days saved up. August sounds perfect. Cool. Okay, I gotta go. The kitchen timer's going off. Love you, Mom. Love you too, honey. I hang up and set the phone down, looking out at the mountains. The sky is turning pink and gold, the trees dark silhouettes against the light. Behind me, the cabin door opens. Patricia steps out, my friend from Raleigh, the retired nurse with the sharp wit. She moved out here 6 months ago, and I've been visiting on weekends, thinking about whether I might do the same. Wine, she asks, holding up 2 glasses. Please. She hands me one and sits in the rocking chair beside mine. We clink glasses, sip, watch the sunset in comfortable silence. You seem happy, Patricia observes. I am, I say, and I'm surprised by how true it is. I really am. She nods, understanding without needing explanation. And I think about the long road from that September morning when Jenna dropped an envelope on my table to this June evening in the mountains, about the house I sold, the boundaries I set, the daughter I released so we could both become something more. It wasn't easy. There were moments I wanted to give up, to go back, to make it all comfortable again, even if it was wrong. But I didn't. I chose myself. And in choosing myself, I gave Jenna the chance to choose herself too. Sometimes love means holding on, but sometimes it means letting go. And sometimes, if you're lucky, it means finding your way back to each other. Not as you were, but as you've become. The sun sinks below the mountains. The sky darkens. Patricia and I rock gently in our chairs, sipping wine, saying nothing. And it's enough. It's more than enough. It's everything. The end. Mom, my friends and I broke some things and bought drinks on your card. Here's the bill, my daughter said after partying at my beach house without telling me. I stayed silent. The next day I did something that left her in shock.